Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, what I like to do is create videos that I would have found helpful when I first got out looking for treasure. Things like gold, silver, and gemstones. Now this, in case you missed the first part of the video, came out of here, and this was $15 for all of this stuff. They should be like singles and broken things and Lord knows what. They're from the thrift shop. You know, this type of thing can just crop up for a variety of reasons. Oftentimes with these, it's just the sheer volume means that stuff just kind of gets in the bottom of boxes, or maybe there's singles and they don't really have a good way of selling singles. Maybe they're things like, say, you know, I reach in here and I grab something that I just spotted, you know, something like that, where, you know, the stone is gone. Now, this actually is somewhat exciting. We'll start the video off with that because, see, we got the markings right there. What is this? 925. And the other question is 925 right there. So that is our first bit of silver. If you missed the first video, we have a cigarette holder that's got sterling around the band, and we're putting all our sterling in there. And we have a cigarette holder with sterling around the band, or sterling around the band, and we're putting all our gold in there, or things we're pretty sure are gold. There's one piece there that's unmarked that we'll test, but I think it's low carat gold. We'll see. And we employed the magnet in the first video, so we were able to sort out a lot of the really bad stuff right off the bat. And now we're left with a slightly more, probably a slightly more tedious process. We'll hit it with the magnet a little bit more, see if anything else comes out. But the magnet's good for, you know, grabbing things that stick to the magnet, which mean that they're generally plated. Now, that means that they're generally plated on top of like steel or something ferrous, like, you know, some kind of, oh boy, I guess last time I just didn't do a great job of it. But it tells you real quick if it's something that you need to, you can dismiss a little bit more quickly. Now, we have two pieces in here marked 585 that actually do react very weakly to the magnet, but it was very weakly. So keep in mind, if there's enough nickel in your gold or in your silver, it will still react to the magnet. So if something looks good, take a double check at it. If something looks terrible like that, you know there's a reason. Now, I'm also going to separate out the backs, because what will happen, and this happened, I think, at the beginning of the last video, was that one of the backs was magnetic, whereas the front was not. And the front, or the actual earring. This is interesting. I don't want to separate that one out. I don't want to separate that one out. I want to look at them. When you see something you want to take a second look at, just do that. Just because the magnet is saying, hey, that's magnetic, doesn't mean you shouldn't use your eyes and your senses to say, oh, that looks kind of cool. I should have a look at that. The magnet is just another tool. So let's separate this one out. Yeah, I don't think this is anything, but it looks like it's got markings. Looks like it's got some markings right there. So this is 925. Does the back also say 925? Ah! Well. Oh, there it is. The back says sterling. So this is probably another good indication of something with either high nickel content in it, or it's fake. I'm gonna set that one aside. That one is very suspicious to me. This one, though, says, what does it say? It says Studex. What is up with these Studex things? Because the two 585s in here that are magnetic also say Studex. So I am definitely going to keep all of these mystery ones that are magnetic segregated until this video posts, because I'd like to hear from you out in the audience. We've seen that one. What you think's going on? Do I have a bunch of fakes? Is that what Studix does? If they're fake, why would they be putting their name on it? And 585. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe it's just high nickel content. All right. That's the last one there. Let's just pick out some stuff. We're just going to grab specific things that we want to have a look at, or just pull stuff out like, oh, that's actually a stone. You know, I feel like that's why that's in here. Interesting. I felt like this was silver, but I don't know. I'm going to set that one. That one is set aside. Those stones are cool. If nothing else, my kids are going to want those as jewels. Oh, you know what? These. You know what I should do is I should take that out, and they should each get one in their stocking. That will be very exciting. Well, this is interesting. What does it say down in here? 925. Now, I will say, if something says China and 925, my experience when we've been putting these things on the XRF machine in the past was that they were, in fact, solid silver, but they weren't 92.5% silver. They were like 800 or something. There's a pair of sterling, 925. So if it says China and it looks a little strange, yeah, that says 925 there. Yeah, 925. And it looks a little strange. It might be because it isn't sterling, but it also is silver. And best I can figure, they're sort of skimming a little bit. Somebody along the way is saying, yeah, I'm selling you sterling, but that's not quite what you're getting. And then the next, whoever's producing it doesn't really care that it's not quite sterling. They might be getting a little bit of a kickback somewhere along the road. Man, we're gonna find a bunch of stuff here, aren't we? What does this say? CZ, China, and 925. Wow. Oh, I love these. Look at that. This is a screw-on. See, that's all threaded, and then it screws on to... Oh, yeah, there we go. 14K. Nice. That's kind of what I expect out of one of these. If you buy something like this, and you're buying it with any sort of expectation, that expectation should probably be like a few good little backers. Those little backs are probably what you're going to find that are good. What does this say? Surgical. Oh. You know what? I just made a connection that I had been wondering for a long time. I've seen a lot of backs that say Surge, S-U-R-G, and I thought it was a brand name, but it's surgical steel. I feel kind of silly now. Don't tell anyone that I just admitted that, please. This looks pretty nice. In fact, I feel like I've seen this. Nope. I'm going to set this aside just because they look a little too good. And I'm not sure why. That's kind of interesting. You can see all the plating coming up on it, though. Boy, are there a lot of sparkly things in here. I should be hitting these with the magnet. This one I don't think is going to be real because you see a bit of a difference in the post there that doesn't look right to me. Huh. I think it's just plated. You know, I'm gonna put those into like a higher tier container. Okay. 1935 EHHS. Some sort of old sterling trophy. That's where those are gonna go. Stuff that I want to have a closer look at again in the future. There we go. All right. So there are still a bunch of things in here that are magnetic. Well, that looks really good for gold, doesn't it? I hope it's gold. Yeah, see it right there, 14 karat inside the bale. That's awesome. So that's going to be probably a ruby, or ruby. No, I need some more coffee, I think. Emerald, maybe? But gold! Speaking of gold, look at that. Looks like an amethyst and some Black Hills gold. Yeah, oh, interesting. That's 12K and sterling. The back is sterling. Where does that go? Gold or sterling? It doesn't have much gold on it, but I'm going to put it in my gold anyways because despite it only having these little leaves of 12 karat gold, I think there's more value in the gold on this than the sterling by far. Yeah. 925. I think we're going to find quite a lot in this one. One of the things about this particular one too, I think, didn't we see this? Is that a pair? Look at that. Gold. Gold pair. Awesome. Let's find another gold back so we can do this and they don't get lost. One of the things about this particular bin is that over the summer, the thrift shop just gets so deluged with stuff because everybody finishes up their garage sale and then whatever they didn't sell, they just bring right into the thrift shop. And as a consequence, like they get really, really overloaded. And I think what we're looking at is probably all of the, like, I like these big stones. I think what we're looking at is all of the stuff from a fair bit of time, like months and months of it piling up. Yeah, that's nothing. But just because the back was nothing doesn't mean the earring is nothing. In this case, it does. But, you know, these larger stones, I think I'm going to be saving all these larger stones for my kids. I think they're going to enjoy them in their stocking. Little bit of treasure, right? Who doesn't love treasure? I know I love treasure. And if you're watching this, you probably love treasure too. That's what my channel is all about. That's interesting. It's just weird. It's nicely made. I'm going to set this one aside. I just haven't seen anything quite like it. It's not marked as anything precious, but is that a stone in the middle? No. But if there's a pair, I would like that pair to be coming out for us. Oh, look at that. That sure looks like gold, doesn't it? So we've got that nice sort of surface that you see on gold, little micro scratches. A little rough in the casting there, but let's look in the bale. See any marks? Before we get too excited, let's hit it with the magnet. No? Man, that looks like gold. Wow. So that's the other thing with something like this. If it's not marked, like selling, it's a little harder for them in most of these shops. Man, that looks like gold. You know what, though? We will chuck that into our gold, because I am seeing no signs that this is anything other than gold. And then we will go ahead and test it. We have that one other piece for sure, and I'm certain is gold, that is also unmarked. But I'm guessing this thing will come up as 14. And then we can test the stone afterwards. Cool. Speaking of stone, I wonder. We got a loose little... Think that's a ruby? You know what we should do? We should do this. I have a black light. I'm going to turn off the lights now. I'll set that right in the middle there. And we will have a look at all of this using a black light and see what glows. Here go the lights. And here comes the black light. Oh, interesting. Boy, that sure glows. What the? You got some plastic here that's glowing for sure. We've got, oh, there's a ruby. Look at that right there. That is one glowy ruby. Wow. Oh, all right, so we'll pull that ruby out. That's a glowy one. And we'll grab, what else do we have that's glowing in here? That's maybe opal. There's some plastic that's glowing. This stone seems to be, is this stone glowing? Yeah, it's got a green glow to it, doesn't it? Okay. And then we got something over here. Those are glowing. Those look like seed pearls. This thing is, look at that. That is seriously glowing, like blue. The camera is not showing how blue whatever this thing is. Must be a pearl. And then here we have a very green stone of some variety. Something. A little bit of luminescence there. Quite a lot there. Oh, that's an opal. Whatever this is glowing. This thing's glowing. This thing's glowing right here. And we get a pearl that's glowing over here. And I think that's all the super glowy stuff that I see. Oh, other than this. And while we have this out, let's just shine it into our, nothing glows too much down in our silver. What about in our gold? Oh yeah, that pearl's glowing like crazy and that opal's glowing like crazy down in there. All right. Let's get these lights back on, shall we? Yeah, the black light is definitely one of those tools. And if you have like a little pocket black light, it can be useful when you're out and about too, to maybe not fully answer a question, but you can sort of see if some things are glowing like crazy, what they might be. Like here, you know, well, this is interesting. So like, you know, here we have a red stone that's reddish, and it's fairly red compared to this guy, right? Ah, this one's very pink. Never mind. That's our ruby, and that is a pretty glowy ruby. Now keep in mind, rubies are very frequently man-made and have been man-made for a very long time. So it's not really that uncommon to find fairly large rubies. Well, this is cool. Look at this, though. Not sure what these are. Maybe they're garnets. They're a little orange to be garnets. I'm thinking these are going to be set in silver, maybe. Let's see here. Uh-oh. Where did I put my magnet? Aha. Okay, maybe nothing. Let's take these backs off. Yeah, I think these are just costume. They're cool, though. I will definitely keep them paired up. Okay, let's have a look at all of our stuff that we picked up that was glowing like crazy. Or glowing enough that we wanted to pick it out. And we'll see what we had gotten out using that. So one of the things to note about that is that, like, plastic, which is what this is, definitely glows and really likes to glow. So that looks like silver and pearls. I don't know if it's marked, but yeah, it's got the 925 on there. Itty bitty, the camera won't be able to pick that up. This pink stone glowed green, which is interesting. If it were a ruby, it would have glown red. I don't know what's going on with that, but you know what? We have a little jar of gemstones it's going to go into. There we have some kind of opal material, maybe? Or just plastic. $925. No, STS. No. 925. 925. I don't know. I think it's silver, though. What else do we have here? 14K. Studix. That is a pair. We have one of those from the previous video. That is very opal-y. Set 925 looks like. All right. Ooh. That looks like gold. I think it even says it's gold right there. 14 karat. And I think, yep, got it there too, I think. Cool. Another one of our glowies. It is I can't make that out through the camera. Maybe you can on your bigger screen. Let me hit it with the loop. 10 karat. we go. All right, what else do we have in here? We have a very glowy something. Pearl or just plastic or glass? Did they use uranium glass in these? I think it might be silver. Yeah, it's sterling. Huh. Doesn't seem like it's a pearl. It seems like whatever was on it was worn off. So I think that some kind of glass. Oh, we already saw that. The other one's in there already. We got a pair of those. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Is that a fire opal? Leave a comment if I've got that one right. Because we have silver here, looks like. 925. 925. Okay, let's zoom out here. And let's just reassess where we're going with all this stuff. We have a lot. And I will definitely say, man, when you have this much stuff, it can take a while. Okay, let's see. What else can we find in here? I feel like we've been looking at those. Yeah, look at that. $925. The same thing here. No, that doesn't look right. But the post might be 925. Let me have a look at it with the loop. Yeah, it says something. It says 925. Wow. Well, we're going to end up with a lot of silver out of this thing. Here's a good example of when stuff gets all tangled up. That sure has a silver look to it, doesn't it? Yep, 925 and 925. What about you? Quality seems a little low, but still 925. Wow. There ended up being a lot of silver in here. Not very many pairs, though, which is to be expected. I mean, when they have pairs, for the most part, if they can, they're going to be pairing them up, and those are cool. They're going to be pairing them up and selling them. If pairs end up in here, especially like 925 ones like that, they're probably just, kind of accidental. When you have a great deal of jewelry to go through, at a certain point, some of it is going to probably fall through the cracks. And that's a lot of what I end up buying and finding, is just the stuff that, people are busy and they've got other things to do too. And I thought these would be silver. The back there is silver, looks like. All right, let's take these apart. Oh, is that it right there? Yep. Okay. So those are, in fact, 925 silver. Another nice little pair. I think we got our 15 bucks worth. What do you think? And we still have all this to go through, and we get a bunch of gold. What I would like to check, though, is I have up here a bunch of backers that I need to check with the magnet. I'm hoping those ones are all not precious. I'm hoping one of these is gold. That would be nice, because that would let us put this pair together. I think one of them looks good for gold. Let's have a look-see. All right, that looks like it could, in theory, be gold. And the reason I say that is it's magnet's not hitting it, and it's kind of dainty, if that makes sense. A lot of these are very dainty. I see something there. All right, let me hit this with a loop. Okay, so under the loop, you can see these high edges actually have brass coming through. All right, what do we have in here? Oh, there's gold. 14K. We'll use that one even though it's white gold, just temporarily to keep that pair together. And then let's see what else we have in here. I wonder if this one is too. Well, that one's down in there somewhere. We'll find it later. Although maybe not on this video at the rate we're going. So I don't see any markings on that one. And while I'm sure they exist, I have yet to see any of these that aren't actually marked with the precious metal that they are when they are a precious metal. So most of the ones like this that are just kind of shiny looking like that are usually usually just plate. That's something though, maybe. Sometimes you'll have markings up there or up there. Usually it's on one of the flats though. But not in that case. No, I guess that one's just plate. So nope. All right. I gotta look at this one again. Plate, it's just built like one of the dainty little ones. So, okay, let's continue for a moment, and then I think we're gonna actually have to wrap this one up because I'm gonna have to go do some other chores, and then I can come back to this. What should we pick out of here? Should we pick something that's probably gonna be silver, right? Nope. What's this? CZ 925. 925, that's silver. Is this its mate? Hey, 14K. Is this 14K? I am not seeing a marking on there. Interesting. All right, that's going to go in our gold because that's gold. And I'll look at this one with the loop. It is just barely there, but I think this is 14K. I'm going to toss it into our gold and we'll test it at the end of the series of videos because, man, we're out of time right now. Let's look at one last thing and then I'll wrap up this video. We'll pick it up later. Let's look at this right here. It's kind of cool. It doesn't look very high quality, but it also looks like it could be silver or something. It says 12K. Oh, gold fill. I think. Man, I don't know what to make of that. See right there, 12K something. All right, let's hit it with the loop. Okay, so this isn't anything as far as I can tell. Doesn't have any markings. Its craftsmanship is not like super duper. But the back is 12 karat gold fill. So we're going to check that in our gold fill, and we'll put this one over here. And then we will wrap up this video. You know, if you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and comment if you have a moment. Most importantly, though, I hope that you were able to learn something in this video, which you can use to go out and find yourself some treasure.
Like this, I've been comment.